click the go live button. And okay, it says that we are live on the YouTubes for the Westlake Charter School June 2021 board meeting. Board President Golick, you have the YouTubes.
Thank you, Dr. Ike. Tonight we are meeting pursuant to Executive Order N29-20, which authorizes local legislative bodies like the Westlake Charter School Board to hold public meetings via teleconference and to make public meetings accessible telephonically or otherwise electronically to all members of the public. Members of the public are encouraged to observe and to participate in our meeting. There are further instructions at the end of our agenda, but essentially what you'll want to do is send an email to admin@westlakecharter.com. In the subject line, put the topic you want to address, and then keep your responses to 250 words. And we'll do our best to make sure they get read into the record during the meeting. And if not, they will be added to the minutes once the meeting concludes. So with that, Amy, will you please take roll and establish the quorum?
Yes. Hope?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Yes. Nancy? Josh?
Yeah.
Michelle?
Here.
Vasa? Oh, he's got tech issues. Is he still here? He just texted me that he has tech issues. Okay, I'll get him back. Ashley?
Yes.
Shannon? And Jed?
And Amy, if you just want to note in the minutes that he was here, and then when he pops back in, that's fine too, because I believe we all saw him. So
we did. Okay, let me.
Perfect. So that will bring us. We'll go ahead and kick off to celebrations while he sorts out his tech issue. Let's see, Sean, would you like to go first with celebrations, and then Ashley?
Sure. I will celebrate promotion yesterday because it was so wonderful to see everybody in person, both the kids and especially the families who haven't been on campus, and even my fellow board members who I had almost forgotten were three-dimensional people.
Thanks, Sean. Ashley, and then Josh.
I will celebrate, I think we all kind of celebrate every inch towards what we used to consider normal. And one of those was Monday, where our kinders got to do a walkthrough. Aloha to Kinder, not quite 110 kids singing to you on stage, but special in a lot of different ways and a lot of new ways. And it was wonderful to get to see the families not through the fence from afar, and get to say a couple of kind words and take photos and give our kids all the little trinkets and treats that we do for Aloha to Kinder. They were very excited, and it was great to see a lot of the kiddos who are still full-time distance learning in person, and kind of see them as real people for a moment before they become first graders.
Thanks, Ashley. Josh, and then Nancy.
I'm going to celebrate John and his staff and all the teachers. That was a school year. That felt like 3 school years. And you guys did a heck of a job rolling with Plan B, rolling with Plan C, rolling with Plan D. And it turned out fantastic. And I just want to continue to celebrate everyone that had a part in that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Nancy, and then Michelle.
So many things to celebrate, actually. But I will celebrate the end of the school year for so many this whole week. It has been, like Josh said, quite a year. It feels like 10, and I'm sure it feels like 20 for the teachers and staff. So appreciative of everything that everybody did to make the school year happen. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Nancy. Michelle, and then Amber, if you'd like to celebrate.
Yeah, I want to celebrate the start of summer. And I think more so than anything, like with low COVID rates and the world starting to get back to normal, it feels like this huge weight has been lifted. I'm seeing families in the park and people that just haven't seen each other, when you see that initial greet, when you're just sitting around watching, it is just amazing. So just wanted to celebrate that we're heading into summer, heading back into our new normal, and really being able to enjoy our friends and family again.
Thanks, Michelle. Amber, and then Amy.
I would love to celebrate the fact that we have a mascot. I think it's super fun. The way it was launched was amazing. My kids loved. We went to all the parks and searched for him, and it was really fun to see the different poses come up. And I mean, I just love the way our Explorer looks, and it was just really fun. So well done.
Thanks, Amber. Amy, and then Steve.
I think this is a great time to celebrate and acknowledge the secretarial staff who supported us all year long through all of the crazy pivots that we had to make, but even more so this past week when they have pulled off some really major events that are both very visible and also very important to our families, and they made us look amazing, and they worked their little fingers to the bone to get us to that point. So I'm super appreciative for them.
Thanks, Amy. Steve, and then John.
I'll celebrate promotion, but a specific a piece of promotion. Every year students are recognized for their core values, recognized for where they want to go to college and what they want to study. But this year, we got to recognize the students who are going to Westlake Charter High School. And it was so just wonderful to hear time after time again, 80 plus times, this student is going to Westlake Charter High School. This student's going to Westlake Charter High School. So just to me, it's a shout out to promotion, of course, but to the board and everyone else involved in getting the high school up and running. Just fantastic to see.
Thanks, Steve. John, do you mind if Vasa goes before you?
Please.
No. Vasa, sorry to put you right on the spot just after you rejoined, but your turn to celebrate.
Oh, man, so much to celebrate. Well, I lost my WCS computer today, and I'm like getting the rust off of this old MacBook. So I'm going to have to take a trip to the Apple store probably this weekend. But there's so much to celebrate. I'm sure John will celebrate it, but I want to give a shout out to the admin team and the event that we had today for staff. It was a little, scavenger hunt celebrations. And, I think one thing I've learned at Westlake that's really important is to play and to have fun in the midst of, just it being the end of the year and being what we've been through. It'd be easy to just be like, all right, guys, I'm going home. I'll see you later. But I've learned how important it is to stop, have fun with your colleagues and play, and to have our team continue to facilitate those type of events was a big celebration for me. So thank you for that.
That was so much fun today, too. Everybody outside in the sun, socially distanced, but the scavenger hunt, the whole deal, the little competitive atmosphere of the innovation design project at the end, that was a lot of fun. I'd like to just celebrate. There are about 1,000 things I'd like to celebrate. In fact, I even had to cut the slide short because I'm like, I will celebrate way too many things, from aloha to all, to promotion and everything in between. But I would like to celebrate the student speakers at yesterday's promotion. If you didn't make it a promotion, there is a YouTube video. It's super slick. The opening is a drone video of like the whole setup. You gotta watch the first 5 minutes of the video. Fast forward through my speech and get to the kids. The student speakers were phenomenal this year. They all wrote a speech around our mission statement, and to hear our mission statement through the lens of the students blew my mind. These kids said things that, we all wrote that mission together. We all know that mission. We built our strat plan off that mission. None of us can do justice to that mission the way those 4 kids did on stage yesterday. I was like holding back tears to hear the kids talk about how that mission really plays out for them. So a big shout out to those kids. They did a great job. Please go check out the YouTube. Those speeches are worth watching.
I also felt like you got a sense of their personalities through them. Not to say that promotion speeches in the past haven't had personality, but there was a lot of personality yesterday,
Yeah.
and I loved that sense of comfort, for the first time of everybody coming back together to be on that stage, and then watching Phoebe Osola, battle through the national anthem and to celebrate her and her perseverance was phenomenal. But my celebration tonight is our 3 board members that are sadly leaving us after tonight's meeting. So, John, I believe you have a sample plaque there. That happens to be Nancy's plaque. But the board certainly wishes to thank our top volunteers in Nancy Con Vasquez, Ashley Patel, and Dr. Vasa Loktev for all the time and dedication you've spent participating on the board and its committees, attending Westlake events. You've all given time away from your families in order to be here and to support our larger Westlake family. And for that, I'm forever thankful. And I'm super excited that Ashley Patel has agreed to stay on our development committee and continue that work. It's great to have that. And when we wrote the bylaws, there was intent to have that, to have board members stick around and help with committee work. And so it's great to see that come to fruition. So #gratitude. Thank you for everything you've done. Sorry we can't give you your awards in person or have Nancy your wonderful treats like we've had in previous years. So we will celebrate in person soon enough, I promise. With that brings us to any other board comments for items not on the agenda. Seeing none, that brings us to public comments. John, do we have any public comments?
I am looking at the email and I see no public comments for the board.
Perfect. And then for people watching, we will go back and check that email address throughout the evening. So there is still opportunity to comment on items on the agenda. With that, we'll go ahead and kick off the reports portion of our evening and start off with Amber and the WAVE report.
Hi. So the last month for us has been pretty quiet. Everything was kind of busy on our administrative and staff side, but it slowed down for us as families were kind of gearing up for summer and the end of the year. So we had our last board meeting. There was a lot of celebrating and a lot of what ifs for next year, but with things still kind of being unknown, it was just a lot of what ifs, which is fun still to come up with new and innovative things. So we do have one spot still open on the WAVE board that we will need to fill. I'm hoping that as we get together more towards, the beginning of the year and things start to be a little more solid for families, that'll be an easier thing for someone to fill. And the same with most of the committee positions. It's just hard right now to fill anything when we don't know how it's going to be. So put that out there. We're looking for one board position, which is the VP of Business Affairs, and then basically all the committees that need multiple people. And then like I said, we're looking at a small or separated types of events, if not virtual in some cases. So we'll be figuring that out. We do have dreams of some sort of small back to school event, even if it's kind of grade level based, or pick up some sort of swag or something. So we're dreaming up something like that to slowly, kind of like we've talked about, the Aloha to Kindergarten type of thing. Just have these kind of smaller kind of drive-through type of things where we slowly start to get our families in person again. So we're just kind of dreaming up some of those things, and we need help. And so that's kind of where WAVE's at right now.
Thank you,
Perfect,
Wade.
Amber. Thank you. And thank you for everything you've done this year to lead WAVE through unprecedented. It's just unprecedented. I know we say that a lot, but I'm not sure where the 2020-2021 school year went, but you kept it chugging along, and so I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Amber.
With Shannon not being here, John, would you mind handling the Charter Impact report again?
We had a great Charter Impact Committee meeting this month. At Impact, we kind of surmised all the work that we've done all year, talking about goal area 1, recruiting and retaining, and really being specific around recruiting diverse candidates for teaching and board positions that's more reflective of the diversity of our community. And with that work, we began kind of a recommendation short white paper to the administration of Westlake Charter School. Shara Murphy did a great job of getting out our first draft on that. That's now getting buttoned up, and we think we're going to bring it up to the governance committee next month. And if governance likes it, they can either send it up to the board or directly send it back to admin. And it's just a really nice little white page that says, hey, here's some processes that Westlake has engaged in that's resulted in good recruitment and retention practices. And also here are some practices curated from the literature that support that type of work. So really, really good impact committee meeting. And it felt like at the end of the year, we got to kind of check a box and say, yeah, we had produced something that's going to help move the school forward in a critical way. So more to come on that one.
No, and it's a great tie-in and reminder to the board's commitment to diversification. So while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and mention it now. We do have an item on our agenda later about our committees, and we'll talk more about that process when we get there. But just as a reminder to board members that we do seek to diversify the board as well. So if you know of any potential members who could bring skills to the board, or we have people out there watching who are interested in learning more about what we do, to please email admin@westlakecharter.com and let us know. We'll have more discussion on it, but it just felt like a great tie-in because that paper, hopefully, maybe we can pull some pieces out of that to figure out how to recruit new members as well. We did not have a development committee meeting, but Nancy, I don't know, did you want to have any final thoughts as you leave as the chair of that role, or you just want to, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, it's okay. I was sitting here thinking, oh God, if I speak, I'll probably start crying. So I don't know that I have much to say other than to thank the committee for your continued work. And sorry we didn't meet last week, but we have one more meeting before I go, I think. So it should be good.
Right, on Monday, I think. Wow, right? No, 2 Mondays. June's a weird month.
Yeah, it is, and I'm appreciative of that extra time too, because stuff going on. But definitely, we will have one more meeting with me there.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Sean, and a finance update.
All that we did on finance is on the agenda for tonight, so you've all seen it. No need to beleaguer the point.
And governance is actually the same. We spent tonight talking about board appointments, committee membership, and the master calendar. So more to come with the governance committee work. With that, I will kick it off to you, Dr. Ike.
All righty. Let me get these slides rolling here and see if we can keep up this hot pace of this June meeting. Kind of roll straight through. Here we go. Go into a little present mode. We got some slides from Mrs. Batten talking high school. Can't believe that's just a moment away, right? We open a high school in just a couple of, it seems like a couple of weeks now, a couple of months. We'll wait for this technology to load up. There it is. There we go. Executive Director's Report, June 2020. I'm sure we'll start off with some celebrations. We'll talk some strategic actions and some updates. See if the technology will comply. Here we go. Go backward. There we go. Well, hey, you saw that we launched Everest the Explorer. You can find Everest the Explorer at hashtag Everest the Explorer out there on the interwebs because people are starting to tweet about that. That's our hashtag Everest the Explorer. You saw the coming soon, and as Mrs. Houston mentioned, it was a ton of fun. People got out in the community and were finding the little Everest clues and getting all the little swag, and everyone got stickers and keychains and whatnot. Now we're gonna go ahead and meet Everest right now because if you haven't, there is Everest the Explorer in all of its glory, right? Wearing its Westlake Charter swag, got that Westlake Charter arm cross, long stare, kind of looks like a cross between a teenager with a little bit of pep in their step and maybe Dean Wells there with a look like, hey, that fierce look. I love this version of Everest the Explorer because the full body, animated version looks very approachable. There is, it just has that cartoon look, but here is now what has become not the parent logo, but the child logo. This is the newly developed logo for the high school. This is the WCHS Westlake Charter High School logo. Now, we still have our Westlake Charter logo as the parent logo. This is a child logo. So there it is. That's Everest kind of peeking out of the shield, and there is the logo for the high school. So you will see that logo on jerseys and hats and all kinds of high school swag. So welcome, Everest, to our community. It is going to be a wonderful addition to the family. I hope you are starting to see it everywhere you go. I hope it shows up, on every slide we build from here on out. We're in love with it. Want to celebrate?
Can I just say that I feel like Everest needs to be on a cookie? I'm just saying. I see Everest and I'm like, holy cow, right. He needs to be on a cookie.
Well, it's a match made in heaven, because I think Everest belongs on a coffee mug, and what's better than a coffee mug and a cookie, little dunk? Yes, yeah. I think that's
That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm with you.
That may happen soon.
That's synergy. I love it. Good. Though there's Everest. Everest belongs on a cookie for sure. Want to celebrate Book Character Day. It was great to have an on-campus Spirit Day, right? We've been celebrating these Spirit Days every month. A lot of virtual Spirit Days, but the on-campus Spirit Day, ton of fun. And then speaking of on-campus, lots of events. Drive-through promotion was phenomenal. The kids coming through in their cars or walking through or biking through. So we had an on-campus promotion organized by amazing parents, as well as our on-campus full promotion. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner, this is a drone footage shot with these perfectly lined up 100 tables in little rows, a beautiful balloon arch, and the families all got their own little tables, so they stayed in their own pod, socially distanced throughout the ceremony, and that just felt safe and appropriate. The students were with their family while they're being celebrated. We sent a photographer and a videographer to each table, so each family got a picture and got themselves highlighted in the video. That felt great. We had a virtual field day on the same day as the promotion, and it went viral. I mean, people all across town were rocking a virtual field day. That was a ton of fun at my house. I hope it was at yours as well. And then we have our 21-22 Spirit shirt brought to you by a third grader, Adelaide Rice, who, whether you know it or not, her older sister, I think, designed last year's, or maybe it was the year before's Spirit shirt. So very talented family. Adelaide won our Spirit contest there. Today was our end of the year celebration with staff, and Dr. Lockteff kind of acknowledged it. It was great. We had staff on campus do this little scavenger hunt, this little innovation project. We celebrated Teacher of the Year and Classified of the Year, which I'll unveil to you now. But it was just wonderful to have everyone took selfies with Everest, with the big cardboard cutout of Everest. It was really a wonderful day. I'd like to celebrate our Classified Employees of the Year. We have two of them. First one up is Tina Kawada. She ran our kindergarten room for base from August all the way through to the end of distance learning. She didn't miss a day. She was in there taking care of our kindergartners back when this whole place was closed. The only people on campus were base, and Tina did a phenomenal job. She almost missed this celebration because she wouldn't leave her post. She was receiving hundreds of Chromebooks today and wiping them down. She's just such an asset to the organization. So big shout out to Tina Kawada. Our second Classified Employee of the Year is Brandon Becerra. He's our sole technician on campus in a year when we use more technology than ever before. He was just out there crushing it. He is quietly always getting the job done. You couldn't get 5 words out of him if you wanted to, but you couldn't stop him working if you had to. He's an absolute workhorse, and he's so kind and so generous, and everyone really appreciates him. Now, our Teacher of the Year is a kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Ellen Klum. Just did a fabulous job in the classroom this year, the last several years, and was highlighted by her colleagues. And the reality is, every single person on campus deserves an award this year. It's almost too bad you can only give out the few awards that we do, but definitely they are well deserved for the people who got them. So those are my celebrations. I could go on all night. There are literally hundreds of them from this week alone. But let's dive in and take a look at some updates. We're going to talk K-12 calendar, COVID response update, local indicators, and high school. And I'll let Mrs. Batten step in for the high school piece there. Oh, look, there's Everest. You're going to see a lot of Everest. I'm in love with Everest. Hey, I want to give you a quick update on the calendar. It wasn't like a material update that needed, I didn't think needed board approval, but I want to just keep you in the loop. So you'll see that red arrow right there. That is the high school conference week in the first semester, and it doesn't line up with the K-8 conference week. And I just want to let you guys know about that. Because if you waited until November to do the high school conference, the entire semester would be all but over. And since our semesters equal a whole year on the 4x4 schedule, that would not be a good time for the conference. So really good timing for the high school is right there after October break. So if anybody's struggling, we can put in the interventions appropriate to get them back up to speed. Any questions about the calendar? Other than that, there's no changes. Everything else lines up well. Cool. Back when we did the COVID-19 plan, I promised to come and update you on any purchases that happened outside of the board purview. We did purchase $23,000 worth of the science tables for the high school because we wanted to make sure we got them on time. And with the way everything's moving through mail and shipping right now, we thought, okay, the sooner the better. So that is obviously clearly budgeted appropriately, but we just kind of rushed the timeline and got those things ordered so we can start building out the high school. I wanted to let you guys know about that. And I want to talk about the local indicators. So typically, we have to go through our local indicators for the dashboard. Now, it turns out we don't have to do that this year because we're not posting local indicators to the dashboard. But we got some wind that we should probably present them to the board anyway because you don't know what's going to happen a month from now. Somebody may come out and say, okay, post your local indicators, and we're going to say, we never presented them to the board. So we have them in a detailed draft, but I thought I'd give you just a quick overview about our local indicators. The basic services indicator, right? That's about teacher credentialing, about the Williams Act, about the facility. 100% of our teachers this year were credentialed. We had no vacancies. I mean, other than obviously like maternity leaves. We did have one, what we would consider a misassignment. We had a specialties teacher with a PE credential in a general education classroom, but she was on a short-term or STIP credential, so she was legally placed, but we have to acknowledge that as a misassignment in our records, which is okay. We've had those from time to time, but still a good track record. Obviously, all of our facilities are in very good repair. Implementation of academic standards, and while I want to call out, we told the board that we kind of streamline some of our standards for report card because of the pace of distance learning early on. However, the standards that we attacked drove the curriculum, and access to the curriculum was monitored. And that's really what this is about. It's about intentional access to standards-based instruction, which, of course, we are very proud of the work we do around this. So we have met all the requirements, and we would certainly say that we meet these requirements, and I would say exceed these requirements, even given that it was a distance learning year. Parent and family engagement, again, will meet all of the requirements. We did do 3 surveys this year. I do have 1 survey still open. I'm hoping to come back in July and do kind of a summary on the year. I think there's pretty interesting data from it. Participation was a little low, but I'll be excited to come back and bring that back to you. Student support services, that team obviously meets regularly with students with from all tiers, tier 1, 2, and 3 of support. And we obviously work with our amazing WAVE team to stay connected to our community, coffee talks, events, all the things that we've done. So obviously parent and family engagement piece is a clear meet and exceed as well. School climate, we did pull off our annual school climate survey, which was nice, and actually collected some extra SCL data in these targeted grade levels, which is actually very nice as we bring on that new K-8 counselor. Our counseling team is going to do some work as we go into next year around trauma-informed practices and just seeing where we think the gaps are. We also had, along with the survey, fish bowls continued this year, and this last fish bowl was a ton of fun. As a part of school climate, remember attendance in the local indicators is part of school climate. And I know we should all kind of smirk because, in this crazy distance learning year, we had our highest attendance in school history, and we are already a school with incredibly high attendance. So Yes, attendance was incredibly high. Engagement was also very high. So that's a clear met standard for us. And then access to broad course of study. Now, we're not required to offer a broader course of study than the general education course of study, but we still continue to offer art, Spanish, and PE throughout this entire year, even though it was virtual. And I would applaud all of those teachers. I mean, art teacher, our Spanish teacher, and our PE teacher each carried a caseload of 1,000 kids. So we will go back to more traditional art, Spanish, and PE next year, but we are proud to say that there was a broad course of study offered throughout this year. I just want to make sure that I present these to you. If we're ever asked to upload them to the dashboard, we will have these details uploadable. Are there any questions on that topic, anyone? Very good. Well, let's talk a little high school. Emily Batten, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much. It's so fun to be here. I just went on a little tour this afternoon. If anybody wants it, of all of the board presentations from August to now on high school, and so it's fun. And I was like, well, we're not ending here. I'm so excited to continue to report alongside the team on what happens when we actually put human beings in this structure that we've built over the past year and a half or so. So I come forward tonight just to do some updates on key areas of the high school, and then also to look at our quarters and update on that Q5. So as we look at June 10th, 2021, we are fully enrolled with 150 students. We, as I think a few people mentioned, we had a Meet Your Advisory Teacher event on Friday, June 4th. We had over 100 students come out for that event on a summer Friday, which I feel like was an accomplishment in and of itself. And now families are signing up to come and pick up that material if they weren't able to make it this next week. We are fully staffed, so we have all core subjects staffed, and we brought on at the end of May an art teacher. Alexis Firsty is joining the team, and we'll be offering art electives as our. She has 3 different art electives that she's going to be offering to our 9th graders next year, and the facility is clicking right along. You know, I've talked to some families who are. It's sort of like when we were building our K-8 campus. We had families driving by going, "I see a lot of dirt. Oh, I see the cement truck." So I'm getting calls of like, the banners are still up from MP3. What's going on? And the beauty of it, and really, you know, such a testament to Steve and John and that team, Melissa, that went through the move on to our K-8 campus and know, you know, just what goes into making a campus, you know, really building a campus from the ground up. So we have been working for the past year and a half, as you all know, to timeline each thing that needs to be done out. So the minute that the building, we were given keys to the building, we were able to go in and say, okay, let's just do paint, and then furniture's coming, and then we're working on the backyard simultaneously. So you can see that, you know, how that all lays out back on the spreadsheet below, and we're excited to begin that work. I just got a call from Marcy Dart saying, we are out, we're getting out, and you are good to go in. So we're excited to start that work in a couple of weeks.
Whoops, that skipped.
Oh.
There we go. Sorry.
No worries. So here's our quarter slide. We ended this year in June in quarter 5, and you know, as we look through these pieces, we know that we have completed the work that was set out on those 5 quarters. But as I said, that work is really going to begin again and to take life on August 4th as staff comes back, and August 11th when our students walk through those doors for the first time. So we are, you know, excited for the next set of quarters. So it's like quarter 6, here we come. I promise we'll restart the clock, so we're not going into other inappropriate quarters, and quarter 6 doesn't exist. So quarter 1 will restart, and can't wait, you know, again to come back and share how it's going as we enter in the fall. And I just wanted to also take a moment to say thank you, and the amount of thank yous that need to come as we talk about the high school work are more time than we have tonight. But you know, a thank you to an amazing partner, Leslie Sargent, our director of high school development, who joined our team October of 2019. So it's been quite a journey, and really, you know, personally and professionally was such an amazing partner for me, but also was just such an amazing partner for Westlake. Our entire school came in, she learned who we were, she took her high school expertise and was able to just help us get to this spot, and she's just been such a tremendous asset to our entire team. And congratulations to Leslie as she steps out of Westlake. She'll be stepping into Castoria Elementary School as their principal in the Twin Rivers District. So, I know a huge congratulations to her on that accomplishment. We're very excited for the Castoria family because they've definitely they're winning with her as a principal. And then a huge thank you to the board as well. Our whole team, as we've come each month to present on a different topic, have so appreciated your feedback and questions. Your investment in this high school is why we're here today. And so thank you so much for your help along the way. And we look forward to continuing to work in partnership with you for many more years as we continue to build over the next 4 years and get ourselves to 500 students with 4 grade levels. It's going to be a lot of fun work.
That's great. Thank you, Mrs. Batten. Any questions for Em? No high school questions? There we go, Josh Carell.
Once we get closer to the school year, I'd love to come and take a tour and just check everything out. Whenever you're ready, you let me know. I want to come see it happen. You've done an amazing job, you and Miss Sargent, and I'm excited and want to come check it out once you're ready.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we will have some summer days as we get in the backyard for some work. So if you want to come over and help with shoveling some gravel and things like that, but then we also, of course, got invitations to the whole board to come walk the halls. And so this will be a community barn raising in the backyard. We're affectionately calling our backspace the backyard. So yes, Josh, absolutely. Can't wait to have you on campus.
I'm in. I'll shovel.
Great.
Love it. Any other questions or comments regarding the high school? Very good. Thank you, Mrs. Batten.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
Yeah, this is exciting, everybody. This is so exciting. Quick strategic action updates. I just want to throw out real quick, and then we'll keep moving. Want to talk about the planning for the fall. The strategic action that the administrative team is engaged in right now is planning for the fall around the same 5 planning areas that we've been talking about all year, right? Health and safety, academic and social emotional instruction, logistics and operation, tiered support, and communication with our community. And so I just real quickly, just around health and safety, I want to be clear, we will follow the guidance that is provided. Now, I don't know what that's going to look like because OSHA says one thing one day and retracts it the next day, and who's following CDC and who's following California. We're going to continue to do the work that we do, and I'll tell you why. We had a great, knock on wood, track record with safety. We didn't have a single on-campus COVID exposure or transmission from the time we brought kids back. Now, could that be dumb luck? Absolutely. But could it also be that we took seriously our charge to stand on dots 6 feet apart, make sure we're masked, and did our hand sanitizer, did the screening at the gate? And the protocols that this team followed were second to none. I don't know anybody that did a more follow due diligence more than this team out here. So good on them. We're going to do it again in the fall, whatever that looks like. So whatever the recommendation is, we will follow it because that will keep us safe in the fall. But we are planning for 180 days of academic instruction on campus next year. So that is the planning. Of course, we have contingency plans that are sitting on the sideline because the admin team is developing plan A and plan B, plan B's contingency, and we're doing it across multiple lines. So, we have certain contingencies. We think, we'll start with this contingency plan, or we'll start with our regular plan and be able to fall back to contingency. But we believe that the state is likely to say, regardless of what happens in the fall, because people talk, is there a fall surge or not, that schools are going to stay open this year. So we're planning for that, and we love it. We're excited to be here on campus, but that is what our plan is, and that's what we're communicating. If that changes, we will certainly let people know, but I wanted you to know that is the plan, is that we've told our staff, let's all plan to be back for the full 186 days of staff time next year. Let's have 180 days of in-person instruction. And if something changes, we will fall to contingencies at that point. Tiered supports. We're really going to focus on utilizing all of our structures, all of our personnel, and all of our resources around personalizing for academic and social emotional learning needs. You're going to have a classroom full of 22 kids, 28 kids. This student over here may have fallen behind in reading. The student sitting right next to him, for whatever reason, might have like accelerated reading during distance learning. Like everybody has responded to this particular school year differently, so everyone needs the personalized support wherever they need it. One student might be like, hey, that was my best school year ever. The next student over needs some trauma-informed practices to make sure they feel whole. And so we as a staff need to be aware of that, not only in the classroom, but in the way that we build our schedules and our structures before school, after school supports, lunchtime, all the things that we do, push in and pull out. Everything has to be structured around these ideas of tiered support academically and for social emotional needs. Logistics and operations, our team's already begun working on the guidebook for the fall just to make sure we're ready, but we will work through the whole summer on contingencies. And then I told the staff this, and I wanted to tell you this. This is my message to staff. Last summer we asked, oh, hey, can any staff members help us in leadership over the summer so we can all work toward reopening in the fall? We told the staff very clearly today, please go rest. We could communicate all summer and tell you what we're doing every week like we did last summer, but we're not going to. Even if the governor says one thing on June 15th and changes his mind on July 7th, we're just not going to say anything until late July so that our whole staff could go home and rest. Admin's got it from here. We will keep working on all the planning, and when it's time to communicate close to the beginning of the year, we'll be communicating with our staff and with our families. So we're gonna go dark for the summer on communications and ramp up the way we typically do around July 21st with our first Westlake Weekly for staff and for parents, letting everybody know, okay, get ready, it's a couple of weeks away. So those are the 5 planning areas. That's how we're planning for the fall. Any questions, thoughts, concerns, or feedback on the planning for the fall? Yeah, if anybody's got a crystal ball, please let me know. We have no idea. But you know, our basic plan is as if it were 2019 and build out a contingency for everything and see what happens. Next strategic action is I just want to talk a little staffing. Oh, that animated strangely, but I want to talk about some staffing actions. You know, we had a Tech TOSA opening that's been filled by Jessica Block. We had a school program coordinator opening that's been filled by Allison Chavez. The 9th through 12th grade student support services TOSA was filled by Lila MacGyver. So very exciting. And then we had some internal moves. Some people, you know, changing grade levels, and there's really exciting changes. I thought I'd just share them. Some of the grade level moves are Michelle Ho moving up to 8th grade humanities, partnering with Roland Eichley. That'll be a dream team. Reese Ornelis, who is an absolute all-star, is going to step into 7th grade humanities. And then Janie Leggett from 6th grade is actually kind of looping up or rolling up to, from 5th grade, rolling up to 6th grade. And she is super excited to join the middle school team. So a lot of internal moves, but what we think we've done is kept a lot of the Westlake expertise and brought it up into the middle school where some of those vacancies happen because some people rolled up to the high school. Dr. Lochtef is leaving for a principal position, and that created some openings that we're filling internally, and it's really exciting. So we have interviews on Friday. We have to backfill a couple positions. We got some great candidates in the pool, and we expect to be fully staffed by midweek next week again. So any questions on those moves? Good. We're really excited about those. A lot of the right people stepped into the right positions at the right time, and we are really excited about that. And the last strategic action is board succession. Hope?
There's one other move, John, that I would like to celebrate Miss Patel's move.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I didn't put Ashley Patel on there, who's going into a phenomenal position. Thanks, Hope. Sorry, Ashley. You know, I think I was just thinking about grade levels, and Ashley Patel is going to step into a brand new role. And if you know our process, we do this intent to return meeting every year. And Patel for years has said, hey, you know, I love what I do. I'm awesome at what I do, but I would love to get on that student support services team because her heart, I mean, nobody has a bigger heart for full inclusion than Ashley Patel. And as Mindy Matson, who's a longtime ed specialist here, is rolling out to a job closer to home, we said, hey, who is it who would like to step into this role? And Patel's like, well, don't mind if I do. So Ashley Patel, who is, as you all know, just an all-star kindergarten teacher, is going to leave a gap by leaving, but is going to fill a gap and step into an education specialist position. She's going to expand her credential to fill that position. And every single person on this campus who's heard the news is like, oh, goodness, that is exactly who should take that position. So yeah, thanks, Hope. Sorry, Patel, I didn't put that on the stream. Congratulations to Patel, and really a lot of the students who've been fully included in our program with some of our more advanced needs have come through Patel's room, and so she's going to reunite with some of her kids in ways that is really going to be phenomenal. She's going to be serving students that she had, 4 or 5 years ago when they were in kindergarten, and that's super exciting. Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations to both our board members there. That's great. That's great. Thanks again, Hope. Strategic actions. Board succession. I just want to call this out. So as we know, Mrs. Patel, Dr. Lockteff are both going to be succeeded by 2 other internal candidates. However, Nancy Collin Vasquez, who has absolutely been such an asset to this board, is leaving, and we have a board position to fill there. We're not going to race to do it. We're going to do our regular process. I think Hope and I wished we had started a little earlier. That's bad on us. But there's been a pandemic. We've been a little busy, so I'll forgive us for the moment. We're fine. What we would like to do is this summer, Hope and I will take on the work of rebuilding this that skills inventory piece that we used to do with Board on Track. We're going to rebuild it as an internal tool through Google Forms. We'll launch that to all of our board members this summer, later in the summer, so that by late July you're doing the skills inventory, so that by early fall we can do our analysis of kind of multi-year needs. Okay, well, Nancy's position needs to be filled, but who else might be leaving in coming years? What's the succession map look like? What skills do we have on the table? What skills do we need on the table? One of the skills to talk about out loud right away is, hey, we need some high school eyes on the board because we are opening a high school. So we might look at our own internal skills and say, who's got some high school skills that are pertinent, and make sure that, those are things we're looking for as we grow out that high school. Once you do the multi-year needs assessment, we'll begin filling those vacancies. And I think that we would assume that those vacancies, or at least Nancy's vacancy and preparation for future vacancies, would be mapped out and done in late fall. By November, early December, we'll probably button it all up. So just wanted the board to know we'll take our time to do this work to make sure that that we do this work properly, because once we get a board member, we like to hold on to it for a long time. Hope?
Yeah, I just wanted to add again, just because we're taking the time to do this work doesn't mean that as you come across people in the community or at Westlake who you believe would be good board members or committee members, to hold off on sending them in. Don't. Go ahead, come our way. Send them to John or I. If you're watching, admin@westlakecharter.com with an email of interest, all works. But having a good tank full of qualified candidates will really help us in the work and filling both the board as well as our committees. So I'll keep harping on that tonight. Josh.
Thanks, Hope. Is there a maximum number of seats on the board? Are we below those seats? Or are we?
There's a range that's allowed in our bylaws, and we are above the minimum range and below the maximum range. So we're in a good spot.
Yeah, there is other than needing additional skills, there's not that sense of urgency to be in compliance. It's mostly we're very lucky in the fact that we have the time to do it right. And just to make sure that we do get back on track with some of the work we did before this pandemic, and having the timing and the grace to get that going again and do it right.
Good stuff. Any other questions about board succession? No. All right. That concludes my report. Let's go back to the agenda here and see where we are.
Okay. John, would you mind, before we hit consent, just doing a quick check for additional public comments?
Yep, I just checked it while we were talking, and there are no additional public comments.
Perfect, thank you. So on tonight's consent agenda, we have items A through G. Now is the time, if board members have any questions, to go ahead and ask those on those items, or to make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion. It's my last board meeting, so I'll move. Sean will second.
I will second.
Perfect. Thank you. Amy, will you please take the vote?
Yes. Hope,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Vasa,
Yes.
and Ashley.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. That brings us to our first regular agenda item, which is accept and approve the LCAP. Is this you, Steve?
Yep, it's me tonight. Thank you, board members. So the LCAP that is in the packet this evening is substantially similar to the LCAP that was in draft form last month. Made some updates to the LCAP due to pagination issues we were having previously, so thanks for the comments last month on that. The LCAP has also been updated with a budget overview for parents to help kind of easily translate where some of the funds go. But if there are no questions, I would just look for approval this evening.
Thanks, Steve. Are there any board questions? Seeing none, is there a motion to accept and approve?
I'll move.
Second.
Perfect.
Sorry, I had to switch screens.
Ashley moved and Josh seconded.
Thanks. Hope,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Vasa,
Yes.
and Ashley.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. That brings us to item B, which is accept and approve the WCS 2021-2022 budget. I'm guessing that's you again, Steve?
It's also me, yes. There you go. And thank you for John for driving the show on this.
Of course, assuming the technology works with him.
Fingers crossed, right? There you go. All right, so tonight is the 21-22 budget before you. I thought I would take a quick step back in time to February of 2020 when the LAO, the Legislative Analyst Office, said accurately predicting recessions in a reliable fashion remains elusive within economics. Of course, this was a time when the budget had been really strong for a couple years, and so the economists and wonks were thinking, well, there's a recession probably sitting out there somewhere. Then, of course, we trip into March of 2020 with the next quote that comes up. And it says, the economic uncertainty caused by this emergency will significantly affect California's near-term fiscal outlook. And it did, but really after a year, probably not in the way that so many people had predicted. If we kind of click ahead to the next slide. Of course, May of that year, school services came out and said, really, people, there are no models for how a world recovers from a near total shutdown of economies around the globe, right? Everything was turning off at that point. And there was a lot of concern, and rightly so, about what the future held. Of course, snapping ahead and kind of looking where things are, school services now, as of last month, has said the 2021 May revision reflects the state's undeniable V-shaped recovery from the trough of the short-lived COVID-19 recession. So it's really been remarkable thinking back to February of 2020 when something might have been on the horizon to this point in time where we've gone through a global pandemic and the state's budget has really whipsawed from a deficit to where we are today. So we can move ahead there. There you go. So the governor came out, I should say earlier this month, but really it was earlier last month. And really this, the first bullet point there goes to the point that I was just talking about, quite frankly, right? Last year we were looking at a $54 billion deficit in the state budget. Taxes were getting pushed off. Everything was shutting down. Income was not coming into the state level. And now today we have kind of flipped the other way and the governor is looking at a $76 billion surplus. So not a bad position for the governor to to be in, quite frankly. So the governor really has revised his proposal, not just from last May or January, but really up through today, and has really we've seen quite a substantial increase in all programs throughout the state, including education. On education in particular, he's offering or proposing a 5% or just more than 5% kind of mega COLA. And that COLA would really catch up to the zero COLA that we received this year. And add on to the COLA anticipated for next year. So again, proposing a 5% COLA, which is again the cost of living adjustment. The governor is still proposing to hold tight on the June to July deferral. He is proposing to pay off or pay down all the other deferrals that are in the system, but holding tight on the June to July. It's an interesting question why, considering so much money is sitting in the state, but at least that was his position back as of the May revise. Another little point in the budget is that the governor is adding some money to the stabilization account, which is really the rainy day account for schools across the state. So if we ever enter into another recession, there might be a little pocket of money there that we can dip into. So advancing ahead a little bit, so the legislature, of course, comes out with their own proposal, and then negotiation happens. So on the ledge side of the House, they're asking to pay down all of the deferrals, right? So their stance is that, hey, there's a lot of money in the state. It shouldn't be borne on the backs of districts and charters, so let's pay that down. So we're supportive of that. Also looks to increase funding for special education funding. So special education funding has increased quite substantially over the past couple of years, and they are looking to add even more into that, which again, we're supportive of. And then really a last point on the ledge side of the House is that all entities really across the state, districts and charters alike, who pay into unemployment insurance got a nasty little surprise in the increase in the contribution rate they were asked to make. In previous budgets, say like last year, Westlake paid about $3,000 in total to the unemployment insurance fund. The unemployment insurance popped the rate on us, and so going into this year's budget, that rate jumped from $3,000 all the way up to $83,000. So it was a kind of a not so great surprise a couple of weeks ago, kind of late into the budget adoption cycle. It's built into the budget right now, but the ledge is really looking to reduce that in half. So if their proposal goes through, instead of $83,000, we would pay $40,000 and change. So still a marked increase from where we were a year ago, but not nearly to the effect of what it could have been. So jump forward, Ed. Yeah, so really a lot of this back and forth between the ledge and the governor are based upon the state economy. And this is one change I made from finance just a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks ago, inflation was mostly in check. And then really over the past 2 days, everything from Chipotle to Yosemite is talking about increasing their prices. So again, it's something to continue to monitor, particularly as the state economy really runs on the back of capital gains and some other taxes that are important to come in. So if the stock market continues to go up, but things are good, then that makes California's budget really happy. If interest rates go up and the stock market comes down a little bit, maybe not so much. So inflation's a thing to keep an eye on as we move forward. But again, I just thought it was important to note over the past couple of days, a lot has come out on that. We probably all know and have all read that unemployment is down. Sorry, I got to jump back up real quick, John. Unemployment is down. But really, just the point of this slide is that there's a tremendous amount of money coming into the state and dedicated to education as well. All right, so now we can get into the nitty gritty and really take a look at our particular budget going into 21-22. Of course, we build it off of enrollment estimates. Enrollment in K-8 is looking very strong and steady. At 925, we are budgeted for 125 students at the moment, but it may be a little bit more than that. If we do get a few more students than that, that will, of course, help the revenue side of the house. ADA is predicted to be 96% on the K-8, 95% on the high schoolers, because they might like to sneak out every once in a while, but I know Dean Wells will keep them all in check. On the EPA side of the house, the EPA in this case being the Education Protection Accounts, almost $2 million. That is all dedicated to instruction. So whether it's teacher salaries and benefits and supplies, it all sits over on that side of the house. And then, of course, you can see here, and you've probably seen the budget already, We're anticipating base to come back a little bit greater fashion next year. And then there's the figures for donations and WAVE contributions. Again, thank you, WAVE. And it kind of ties it up. Does not include Silicon Schools. We, of course, have a partnership with Silicon Schools, where if we hit certain benchmarks, they would contribute up to $200,000 next year. I believe we will hit those, so we should hear more in the fall on that. Does not also include Reed Hastings Growth. So Reed Hastings in the past has donated $1,000 to the school for each student we have grown. So if we grow 125 students next year, we might be able to anticipate $125,000 worth of additional revenue. That's something we'll find out in next spring. But again, those are not included in the budget at this point. Moving on along. So total revenue side of the house, a little more than $8 million in LCFF funding, almost $2 million in EPA, a little better than $800,000 in special education funding, a little better than $200,000 in state revenues, so things like lottery and mandates, and then about $400,000 in base WAVE contributions, interest, and those things. So total revenue sitting at about $11.6 million. A year ago, the budget was not even $10 million. So we've seen quite a big jump, really due to LCFF growth, but obviously due to high school as well. I'll quick pause. Any questions? All right, I'll keep on going. All right, so on the expenditure side of the house, everything is built in the budget, from salaries and stipends all the way through. We've got Museum of Tolerance budget built in there for a field lesson for ninth graders. And then we also look, as we're building the budget and thinking about some of the things that are starting to return. When we really turned off the lights last year, that bill went down. Now lights are back on, so that bill's gone back up a little bit. And supplies, of course, have increased as we've done distance learning kits and everything else. Things that really haven't come back to the budget in a substantial way yet. Travel and conferences, we do have some in there, but not to the point where they were in previous budgets. And then in-person PD, we've seen that shift really more towards online support. And then the education protection account, you can just see where those dollars are dedicated, again, mostly to salaries and benefits. All right, on the curriculum side of the house, a shout out to Christina Ike and her staff for putting this together. It's a massive job to get the curriculum together for the K-9 side of the house. So you can see some of the curricular products that their team is gearing up for next year. Again, everything from McGraw-Hill to Raz Kids to Symphony Math and Lexia. And then, of course, the budget has supports built in for ROAR, GATE, elective classes, specialty classes, T accounts, and everything else. So it's really a great budget on the curricular side. So just a quick representation for those who are visual. You can see kind of where the majority of the funds go. Certificated salaries, followed by benefits and classified salaries. All together, about 77% of the budget goes towards salaries and benefits, with the remainder going towards other things, supportive services, including some of the professional services that we use. But again, really on par for some of our other local districts as well from a percentage standpoint. So again, similar to the revenue side of the house, just a breakdown of all the expenditures. You can see certificated and classified payroll, benefits, books, professional development, and supplies. Again, just about $11.5 million on the expense side of the house. There you go. Thank you. So altogether, revenues and expenditures combined, looking to have about $100,000 carryover going into next year. Again, that does not include any increase we might see in enrollment, Silicon Schools, Reed Hastings. So again, kind of a comfortable place to be for a budget. And again, as we look going forward, we'll continue to have positive budgets projected and cash flows. So if there aren't any other questions or any questions, I would just look for approval tonight.
Go ahead, Sean.
I was going to say I'll move it, barring any questions.
Perfect.
I will second it.
Thank you, Nancy.
I feel like I have to be able to at least motion one of them, but it's more appropriate for Sean to do so because all the outgoing board members are at least motioning one. So I would like to, let me just preemptively motion for the next one for John. Sorry.
So we all know not to motion the next one and wait for Nancy. Got it. Okay. So I have a motion from Sean, a second from Nancy. Are there any other board questions about the budget? If not, I'm not seeing Amy. So Amy, will you please take the vote?
Yes. Hope?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Vasa?
Yes.
And Ashley?
Yes.
We've reached the giddy portion of the evening, I see. So that brings us to, actually, I should have asked for public comment before we voted. John, you mind
Yeah,
just
let
checking
me take
again?
a
I'm
look.
sorry.
While I'm looking, I would like to thank Steve Corbing for his stewardship over our budget. He's just such a phenomenal job. And every time I watch a budget presentation, I just think how lucky we are to have Steve Corbing. There are no public comments.
Perfect. I agree. It's easy to understand, which is not the easiest thing to do for non-financial people. So it's always appreciated. So that brings us to item C, which is accept and approve the 2021-2022 Executive Director Agreement. Per code, I need to go through the changes to the agreement given the fact they do reflect adjustments to compensation. All dates were updated in the agreement. We removed paragraph 11 because Dr. Ike has completed his program at Sacramento State University. It does include an 8% total increase in base salary, taking into account that John did not receive any sort of increase last year as part of the budget process. Hearing Steve talk about the V and where we were a year ago, it's just very interesting to be here now. So it's 4% for last year and then 4% this year for a total of an 8% increase, which will bring his base salary effective 7/1/21 to $160,147. It also includes the addition of paragraph 4, which is the establishment of a contribution of $8,007 or $66,725 per month to a deferred 403B compensation account, with the requirement that account be opened with a vendor that WCS has a relationship with. The net proposed compensation adjustment is $1,089 over last year's agreement. With that, I'm happy to take any other board questions that there may be. Seeing none, Nancy, would you like to speak now?
Thank you for letting me do the honors on my last board meeting. I'd like to move to accept and approve Dr. Ike's Executive Director Agreement.
Perfect, and I would actually like to second this one. I feel like I never get to do that, but this one I really want to second if I'm giving up the motion. So, Amy, if you could please call the vote.
Are you sure you want me to call it? Does anybody else want to call the vote tonight? I mean,
I know. It's just a very emotional thing.
Josh,
just, emotions all around.
And we all have the feels, Amy. I don't know what to tell you. Okay.
Whoa.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
Josh.
Yes.
Michelle.
Yes.
Vasa.
Yes.
And Ashley.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
We have no other discussion items on the agenda for this evening. John, would you mind just scrolling down? Did we have any future agenda items? No. So, in July, we will have a meeting. We will likely have some board policies related to the high school opening. So please keep that marked on your calendar. But with that, let's do one more check of public comment before we head into closed session. And we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting now, as we don't anticipate any report out of closed session.
There are no public comments.
Okay. Because it's several board members' last meeting, I would like to do a reflection before we go into closed session. It feels like a fitting end. We haven't had much opportunity to do it this year. We've had so much work to do. So if, and I won't call on you, we'll do free flow this time. But something that's worked well for you tonight, something that would be better if we did something differently, or just a parting comment. Come on, Nancy. It's for you. You have a celebration, I think.
I will do my best, literally, not to cry. Okay, pass me, and then I'll get myself together. I promise.
Okay. So that I'm going to put Vasa and Ashley on the spot then. It's your last meeting. Do you have any good words for us as we head off?
I'll jump in there. First, in the agenda tonight was, in the consent items, was to approve our new board members. So, and something that worked very well for me, we have some great teacher representatives, colleagues that I respect and admire. One of them who's taking over my classroom, amazing educators. And then I just, on a personal note, I've been with Westlake Charter School for 8 years, and it's been an incredible journey. And I could name off a million people, many on the screen, who have seen me, not only grow up as an educator, but, get married, have kids, get a house, become an administrator, all at Westlake. And I truly, from the bottom of my heart and absolute sincerity, Westlake has really shaped me into the person I am today. Truly. I joke around with my wife about getting a compass tattoo. I've said that before probably, but it just really has shaped me into the person I am today. From parents like Nancy to Hope and our board, to administrators like John and Jen Kayau, who has really been kind of instrumental. It's just been a great journey, and I could go on forever, but I'm so thankful for this organization and the people in it, and I'll always be an explorer, and maybe I'll have to switch to an Everest tattoo, who knows, but thank you guys so much for all the opportunities and support over the years. It's really made a difference in my life and allowed me to be, I think, a pretty decent teacher along the way, so hopefully I made a difference in a lot of little middle schoolers' lives, because that's been my mission during this 8 years. So thank you. I just thought I'd give a little speech.
I think you're ready to lead as a global citizen, Dr. Long.
Thank you. I concur. All right.
Ashley, if you want to say something, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. You don't have to. I didn't warn you in advance.
That's okay. I'll start with Locktuff. When you get, Dr. Locktuff, when you get that tattoo, do a forearm so that your students will all ask you, and you can remind them where your roots are. I just want to say thank you to the board. I've been on a couple of committees in my tenure here. And I shared with John and Hope, it's the teacher tenure is weird, because it's 3 years, it's done. It's different than everyone else's. So I kind of felt like I was getting kicked off the team, which was a weird feeling. And so I felt really excited to get to continue to help the board. It's been a team that I felt like I've learned a lot from each of you, and I value each one of you so much. You have an important job, and to come to the meetings every single month and see just how serious everyone takes their role, and how important our school is to each of you, even if your kiddos aren't here anymore. I know it means a lot to everyone at Westlake, and I just feel very, very lucky to be part of the team for the last 3 years, and to continue to still support you in small ways through development each month, or big ways, hopefully.
I was going to say, it's not a small way, Mrs. Patel. I think that's a pretty big way.
It's a very big way. It's a very big way. All right. So if I feel like I've gotten myself together enough, because it's so much ditto of what Vasa and Ashley just said. I bleed blue. I bleed Westlake. Oh my God, you guys. I can't. Okay. But you guys are awesome. And I'm so thankful. So I'm going to leave it at that. because I'm just an emotional mess anyway in general right now. But you guys are amazing, so I love you all.
So Nancy, you know you're my person.
I know.
And
I know you are too.
And so don't think you're done with us, because I have a feeling I'm going to have, I mean, at the very least, we need Everest cookies, and I can't imagine anybody else who can make us those cookies. So
Yes,
I'm counting
same. And I would be hurt if anybody else was making those cookies. I'm just going to throw that out there because they're my thing, for you guys especially. So, yeah, really, truly thank you.
So, with that,
yeah,
any other reflections? Come on, people, let's just all cry together. Okay, seeing none, I will go ahead.
Josh,
Josh, sorry, I was wiping tears.
Well, that's all right. That's all right. So, to the 3 outgoing board members, you've taught me a lot, just bringing passion and enthusiasm to everything. And then there are the little things that you brought. Ashley, I need somebody to help me with abbreviations and definitions. Ashley was my go-to. I'm going to need some help there. Nancy, just, through working with you on the committee, I learned, how committees work, how to run a committee, how to keep things efficient and moving forward. And Vasa, just your leadership and just your general enthusiasm that always comes out in the meeting for the kids. And also teaching me the word pedagogy.
Yeah.
So, but thank you all. I wish y'all could stay, but I know there are reasons everybody's got to step away. But we're gonna miss you. We're gonna miss y'all.
Thank you, Josh. Okay, with that now, that I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting into closed session. Like I said before, we don't anticipate any reports out. One last public comment check, Mr. Ike.
I will check. Seeing no public comments.
I miss Mrs. Johnson. I hope she's having a wonderful summer.